Okay. I can't see my, oh yeah, there you go. All right, everyone, we are going to start as close to 8 o'clock as we can. I've tried to convince people that 8 a.m. is an ungodly time, but such is life. So welcome to the session on building the open chiplet economy. My name is Bapi Vinnakota. I'm happy you're all here at this early in the morning. First up, I want to thank whoever's here from our friends and family in terms of people who participate actively. We've got about 7 work streams, and we've got other friends. And so you know who you are. Thank you for your active participation. We've got Ilad Alon from who isn't here yet, I think, and Marek, who couldn't make it here today. Jawad, who's here somewhere. Well, he was here 5 minutes ago. And on the link layer, we've got a bunch of participants, most of whom aren't here in person today. And we've got a test package effort with JP from D-Matrix. Finally, we've got Shahab, who led we did a very successful die-to-die workshop on Monday. And finally, we've got our really good friends, Bill, Anu, Cliff, who's booked all day. So these are people who played a huge role in our volunteer community in making this agenda possible. So over the last year or so, we're organized around this idea that chiplets need a new supply chain, new workflow across the supply chain. That typically when you look at chiplets, you think of interfaces and nothing else, but really what makes chiplets typically a big company proposition is that you have a very complex supply chain. Designers need to consider factors that they don't normally consider, like packaging and test and chiplet inventory and a whole bunch of things that they don't normally factor in when designing monolithic ASICs. And what we at the ODSA have organized ourselves around are this idea that how do we reduce the friction? So far, the chiplets have been largely limited to companies that own their own supply chain. And that's why chiplet-based products have largely been produced by vertically integrated companies. So what we think is, to do this, you need an open chiplet economy, which is the title of our session. And we have volunteer-led work streams in 6 categories that help build this open chiplet economy. We got interfaces, but we start with workflow, business workflow. How do you do business with chiplets? How do you do design workflow and production workflow with chiplets? How do you build products and prototypes? How do you produce good reference material? And finally, interfaces, right? So the key point in all this is how do we produce a collection of activities that reduce the friction in building chiplet-based products? And that's what you'll hear about today. So today's session is organized around these themes of an open chiplet economy in all these categories. So we've had an extraordinarily eventful year. We introduced the idea, the concept, or the tool around an open chiplet economy early in the year. We've released updated specs on the interface, a bunch of wires 2.0, which is a die-to-die PHY, and we're going to release a 2.1 soon. Bunch of wires has been siliconized. Even the 2.0 has been siliconized recently. Got a transaction and link layer protocols so that chips can interoperate. And we've made extraordinary progress in which I think Tony and Jawad will cover on physical descriptions. We're truly proud of this as a group. I didn't have much to do with it, so I can say it's a wonderful effort where every chiplet made with a JEDEC part number will have a JEP30 port model that's based on a language that the CDXML workstream produced. So there's a huge announcement a couple of weeks ago, or actually less than a week ago, about part models described using CDXML. So now you can have automated workflows across manufacturers, across EDA tools, between foundries, a whole bunch of things which we'll go into. And we've starting to build a pretty close relationship with Lawrence Berkeley Labs. We had our first, John Schaff here, we had our first workshop with the DOE in Berkeley. That was fantastic. I think there's lots of room for collaboration. We've got John Schaff is now going to lead the charge in bringing more labs into the ODSA partner ecosystem. And finally, this has been an incredible week. We started by saying we had a busy week with for the first time we have an experience center with real chiplets. If there's a theme to this week, it's the fact that the open chiplet economy is making a transition from slides to real things. So if you haven't been to the Chiplet Experience Center, please do so. We have 10 companies deploying products and prototypes in workflow, 4 in workflow, 3 chiplets, and 2 IP companies. And so that shows you the breadth of progress that's happening in this space. And on Monday, memo to self, never organize a workshop in the same week as another big event, but we had I think 10 companies with actual PHYs, PHY silicon, UCIe PHYs, which Devendra is going to talk about, and a bunch of wires PHYs, proprietary PHYs, protocol PHYs from GUC. 10 companies with actual PHYs share their results. Really good workshop, expert workshop. And check out the videos. So normally this workshop is the beginning of a lot of activity in chiplets, but in this particular 2023 Global Summit is a culmination of an exciting week for the open chiplet economy. So it's here and now. That's if I want you to walk away with one message. This thing isn't all right. 4 minutes. Thank you. So if I want to walk away with one message, what we're trying to do is we're trying to reduce the friction of building chiplet-based products. So if you want to build a chiplet-based product, we would like to equip you with a set of tools to make it easier to build your own products. So, and we've had many wonderful fellow travelers here. That what we want to do is give you, we produce a set of tools, none of which are too prescriptive. The intent is not to beat people on the head and say, do this, but to rather equip you to make your own decisions. Anu here produced a cost model, which has had way more legs than anybody expected. How to evaluate the trade-off between monolithic and chiplet ASICs. We have a die-to-die reference spreadsheet, which led to the workshop on Monday, which compares all the open die-to-dies, anybody who's willing to give their data. We're going to produce a white paper, hopefully co-authored by several companies, on a methodology to evaluate PHYs. So if you're a customer, a consumer of PHYs, you can sort of have, and you say, if I'm measuring latency, I'm measuring it this way. And I know everybody who signed on to this white paper is going to measure it the same way. So our entire goal is to reduce the friction in building chiplet-based products. Today's workshop is across the entire economy. We're graced by UCIe, 2 papers on UCIe, one from Devendra and one from ARM, who I don't see here. And we have updates on various ODSA work streams, starting with Tony and Jawad. And then on top of that, we have 3 panels for you. One panel is on building the chiplet economy. The other is with our startup friends, which I hope are a good home for startups. Another is going to be helmed by Bill. ASE was kind enough to sponsor the Chiplet Experience Center, make that possible. Thank you, Bill and Patricia and Lee Hong, to create a home for the 11 companies to display. So we're going to have a panel on the new supply chain. And this week has been so intense, I've forgotten what our 3rd panel is. Anybody remember? Oh, right. And then we have our 3rd panels are startups in the chiplet economy, those who are a panel of people displaying at the Experience Center. So that's our agenda for today. And so I hope you have a great time. I hope you can help us by joining one of our work streams. We welcome everybody and anybody in whatever capacity you can participate. We work with a lot of organizations. Bill's been very kind enough to integrate us into the IEEE. We work with SEMI. We work with the government. We'd like to work more with UCIe. If you have, wherever you are if you have a proprietary PHY, if you're building products, everything else, we'd like to welcome you on board. So with that, I'm going to get out of the way. Thanks again for your time. And we're going to Tony.